What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. I have a super exciting review for you guys today. It is the Predator LZ, which is a very old football boot. It's more than 10 years old since this boot released, but it is part of this series that I'm going to start to do where I am able to get and explore boots that I never got a chance to try when I was younger, and these were one of the top boots on my list. I'm very excited to do a little bit of a tech review, and then of course the most important piece of this, which is the try on and hopefully train in them as well. So you'll see a couple different videos about this one. Probably do a free kick video, and I'll probably do a shooting video as well, because these are absolutely sensational looking, and I'm sure striking the ball with these lethal zones, as they call them, will be super exciting. So full disclosure, I actually got these on eBay. So eBay is a great place. I'm not sponsored by them. This isn't a sponsored plug, but a lot of boots that I am able to get that are more of this retro style are either on Instagram through resellers or on eBay through certified resellers there on eBay. So these ones I was able to pick up on eBay, brand new. There's no box, there's no papers or anything, but I'm very excited to try these on in my normal size 9 US. So without further ado, let's get into a little bit of the tech features of this boot. So super cool. I love this colorway too. This was one of my favorite colorways when the LZ originally launched. It launched in, I believe, basically like a darker version of this blue color here with sort of red lethal zones, which are these kind of padding rubber elements on the upper. Now, this was a very controversial boot because before this one, there were bladed studs on the bottom, and every Predator prior to this one was made of full kangaroo leather. And so when they announced the Pred LZ, which is this model, and then of course the TRX, which came out after this one, it was like the next generation, both of them featured a synthetic leather upper, which by the way is hybrid touch, which we now see on the current generation Predator, reimagined on the current generation Predator accuracy, with a speed frame from the Adizero line, this sole plate. So they put a much lighter sole plate. There's none of that kind of power swerve technology through the midfoot area. There's now a Mi Adidas thing, which actually doesn't exist anymore. I'll explain what that is in a minute when we go over sole plate stuff. But this boot was incredibly controversial because it basically incorporated a bunch of pieces that we hadn't really seen before, made the boot incredibly lightweight, and changed the design quite a bit. So per the name, the LZ stands for lethal zones, and there are 5 lethal zones. There is first touch, dribbling, sweet spot, drive, and pass. Yes, Adidas called this one right here the sweet spot. So you've got first touch here on the toe box area in the forefoot right there. You've got the dribble, which is this outside the foot right here in yellow. You've got the sweet spot, which, as I said before, is that little kind of striking. Often when you bend a ball, you're going to hit it right with the knuckle of your big toe. And then you've got drive, which is this a lot larger padding here, these rubber elements there. And then you've got pass, which is this padded area right here. And this padded area actually has a significantly more, you can see the line around, this has a significantly more padded sensation than the rest of the other. There's probably a little bit of foam, an element of foam in this area here, maybe some memory foam that makes it feel really padded on that instep. So when you're passing the ball, it feels really nice. Now, as far as lethal zones go, they are this really nice rubberized element. It is a fairly soft upper, in my opinion. This hybrid touch upper does a really good job of at least it feels as though it's going to stretch really nicely to the feet. I actually haven't tried these on yet. I have no idea how they feel, and I'm really stoked to see what these feel like, especially because Predators just in general tend to be a little bit on the wider side. As you can see, it is a pretty wide football boot, and there's definitely a deep enough lacing system and a pretty neutral lacing system enough where this boot should fit most foot types, including my foot, which is what we're here for. So as far as other tech goes, this is a much more lightweight construction than all the previous generation Predators. As I mentioned before, this is, as you can see, the sprint frame logoing. Hopefully that comes across. There's sprint frame here. This is sprint frame logoing. All of the Adidas models from this period of time back in 2012 basically featured different styles of this sprint frame sole plate. So they were all catered towards each of the different models, right? You had the Adizero, you had the Pred, and I believe you had the 11 Pro maybe at that time. I can't remember what the other model was, but this incorporated mostly triangular studs. You've got 2, 4, 6, 7 here in the forefoot area, and then 4 on the heel area. No external heel counter, which is an interesting one. There is an internal heel counter, which I can very clearly feel goes up to about there on the end. You can see it pushing down. So it goes pretty high up, and there's a decent amount of structure through this internal heel counter. A nice heel liner as well, and then this Mi Adidas pod. So this Mi Adidas pod basically was a technology that Adidas came out with back in 2010 or 2011, I believe, on the Adizero line. And it was these little tiny pods that would go in this area underneath the liner. So I don't think I'm going to be able to actually show you guys. There's that insert. It's just a suede liner, which is really nice. It says master the ball. And I'll talk about kind of some of the features of this. Anyway, so there is a little hole. Let's see if I can get this up, actually. What I'm going to do is try to take this little Mi Adidas pod. It doesn't want to come out. Bummer. Okay, so basically what this Mi Adidas pod is it was basically a tracking system for the... I don't know how advanced it was. I know it did maybe it did distance traveled, where on the pitch you were, how many touches you took, all that stuff. And it was basically built into the bottom of your shoe, which was kind of an interesting thing, although because it was proprietary, which for those of you who don't know that word, basically what it means is it's Adidas' technology, so no other program worked with it except for Adidas. So the fact that Adidas didn't continue with it means that the technology never got advanced enough, and it doesn't do anything near as advanced as some of those, player tracker sports vests type stuff, or I've seen the systems that go on the outside of your boot that kind of clip on. I've seen several pro teams wear them now, where they'll track touches and contacts with the ball, distance ran, all that stuff from kind of your heel. There's a little tracker that goes on the back of your heel, which I've seen quite a few teams do. So that's pretty cool. But overall, this is a really cool pair of football boots. I think they look really stunning in the white, blue, and yellow. I think this is going to be a great color to wear out on pitch, especially with a black kit or something fun like that. And I'm just really excited to try these on. I'm sure these will make a great addition to not only the collection, but also to a fun training boot when I have a more chill day out at the pitch at Flower City. So you've got the lethal zones there, obviously the 3 stripes, the Predator logoing on the back. There's not really much else to talk about. The one thing that we can actually talk about is sort of the rhetoric around this boot. So instead of being a shooting power boot, which a lot of the previous generation Predators were marketed as, this one was marketed more as a control boot. So it says on the insert there, as you saw earlier, it says master the game. And the idea behind these lethal zones was basically that it would allow you to master the game of football. This was geared a lot towards midfielders like Xavi. I'm trying to think of Xabi Alonso. I'm trying to think of other players who wore this. Obviously David Beckham and some other players who were more of a midfield control type. This was, I believe, it was sort of a comparison between this and the original CTR Maestri 1, 2, and 3 line. And so this was meant to sort of make it more lightweight, make it more very similar to Kangalite, which ironically enough, the Maestri was made out of. So very similar materials on both. You had really aggressive and more lightweight traction on both boots, and they marketed this one with these lethal zones and you've got extra, 5 different lethal zones that'll help you with your playing, where the Maestri was more just cushion padding underneath that layer of Kangalite over the top. So that's kind of, excuse me. That's kind of the way that this boot was marketed as. It is a very, very cool boot. I wore the several pairs of the Mango Maestri 3s. I wore Maestri 1s, and I believe 2s as well. And I'm really excited to see how this boot kind of compares from an age perspective, and if Adidas were to take this boot and re-release it as their new Predator at some point, would this compare to Predator accuracy? Is it better or worse than Predator accuracy? It definitely feels lighter. I think this one actually comes in around the 8-ounce mark, whereas Predator accuracy comes in a little bit closer to the 9-ounce mark for a size size 9 or 9.5 US, like that basic kind of in-between size. And I am very, very stoked to see what these feel like on feet, especially here in this midfoot area where you've got a little bit more synthetic here, and that line right there of stitching. I'm really excited to see if that is an issue, and if it's not, this, I bet, will be a super fun boot to wear and to ping balls in. So without further ado, guys, let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video. And then, of course, you guys will see later down the road some shooting and some free kick sessions in these that you can follow along with. But I am super stoked to have my hands on a pair of these finally after so many years, and let's hop into it. All right, fam, welcome to the pitch here in Rochester. So I've got the Pred LZs on field, and I'm very excited to get these on my feet to get a sense of what they're like. I actually never got a chance to wear these, as I said before, in the unboxing portion of the video, so I'm super excited. They're pretty lightweight, which is awesome. I do have the Predator Accuracy Point 1 over in my bag, so I might go grab those at some point in this on-feet portion, just to kind of explain some of the differences between the two, given that both of them are a hybrid touch upper, or I guess some sense of hybrid touch upper. So that's pretty cool. So you get the technology back in 2012 that you now get here in 2023, which is kind of wild. So without further ado, let's hop into the on-feet portion, of the video. These are such a cool colorway. I love I'm not usually like a yellow boot kind of guy, but the white, blue, and yellow really has a very, I don't know, like a university look to it. Very much, very, very cool in my opinion. So let's get these off. I am not wearing grip socks for the sake of the on-feet portion of the video. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. For those of you who have been here, you guys know that I don't wear grip socks just because I think it gives the most raw sensation on feet for the first try on. So here we go, slipping the boot in. Oh my goodness. Oh my days. Okay, these are actually super comfortable. Wow. Let's get these laced up. I'm super impressed with how the LZs fit. Foot slides right into them. No pressure points so far. There's no weird squeezing areas so far, which is really cool. Man, these fit awesome. Maybe it's just my foot shape. And again, that's the whole point of subjective reviews, right? Like, you can be as objective as possible with the tech specs and stuff, but subjectively, these fit my foot fantastic. Wow. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, these are fantastic fitting football boots for me. Underfoot feels great with that speed frame or sprint frame sole plate. Get the other one on. Turn this way for you guys so you can see it. I am so impressed with how these fit and feel straight away. I was going to say straight out of the box, but they didn't come with a box. But they are new, so I can say that. Straight out of the box, these fit really nicely. I think LZs don't actually go for that much money. I don't think they're super expensive. So if you are looking for a pair of these, I'm fairly certain I saw several pairs on eBay. I'm sure you could find them with some of the other dealers that are around on Instagram and stuff, but that is kind of up to you if you're looking for a pair of kind of boots that are a little bit older, but definitely give that retro, chavvy, David Beckham vibe. But I gotta admit, guys, these are fantastic fitting football boots, honestly. I reckon I would have been really happy wearing these back in the day. They fit really nicely. The lethal zones, which are all these different rubber elements that I spoke about, and then of course the padded element for passing that I spoke about before, they don't hinder the mobility of my feet. There you go. So I'm trying to wiggle my toes a little bit. They don't hinder the mobility of my feet at all, which is awesome. The upper is actually fairly thin, and the sole plate gives a really nice kind of rock sensation. I know it is a firm ground, so the studs are quite a bit longer than say an AG stud pattern. I think they'd be totally suitable because they are triangles, so they're going to give you a little bit of pivot power as far as on pitch and turning and pivoting goes, so that should be no problem. But man, these are honestly really, really comfy football boots. I'm super impressed with the Pred LZs, and these lethal zones look like they're going to be super fun to play around with. So there you go. There's a full look at the Pred LZ. Touch on the ball, which is kind of the biggest thing you guys are probably wondering about. Really nice thin upper. I would say the hybrid touch is definitely a lot thinner than the current generation accuracy. The accuracy definitely feels more padded. These feel like a much thinner, almost cross between a speed boot and a Predator, which is pretty awesome. So I definitely think that they're gonna be a nice pair to play with, to ping with, definitely to strike a ball with that sweet zone or sweet spot zone that they call, which is this yellow piece right here, which when you're bending the ball, that's kind of the knuckle of your big toe where you're gonna hit most of those really nice shots from. And honestly, like, the touch on the ball is fantastic. I think the heel area is really nice. It's kind of deep, a little bit deeper. As you can see, the back of the boot kind of goes up a little bit higher than a lot of other boots that are currently on the market, except for some of the high top models, obviously. And it's just got a really nice shape, and it really locks your foot kind of back into the boot, which is sensational. I genuinely think these are one of the most comfortable shoes I've tried on in 2023 so far, which is wild because these were built back in 2012. Lateral stability seems super decent. Lockdown is really good. I can't see any issues with these. I'm gonna continue to wear them and continue to enjoy them and have fun with them. You'll see a 1-month review, I'm sure, at some point of these. I definitely want to start training in them and doing some free kick sessions and maybe some longer pinging sessions. Maybe if you guys want tutorials on like how to hit a long ball or how to hit a driven long ball or whatever, let me know down in the comments below, and I can do them with these boots because they feel like they're going to be a really fantastic boot to do some nice pinging and shooting with. So very excited. As far as width goes, I'd say these are going to be suitable for most foot types. If you have excessively wide feet in the toe box, they might be a little bit too thin for you. But again, these are pretty malleable, similar to the Predator Accuracy Point 1s and Pluses that are the current generation of Predator. 11 years now later, I would say that these are not as wide as those straight out of the box, but they definitely feel like they could stretch a little bit because of that hybrid touch kind of fake leather material that's in the upper. Really fantastic looking football boots in my opinion. I would definitely consider getting another pair, and I'd actually like to try the Predator LZ TRX, which is I believe it's the next generation of these. Some of those lethal zones had like a different pattern to them, a different look. Maybe there's like a lightweight version as well, so that would be super cool. But honestly, I'm really shocked and surprised. I was never really a Predator guy. One of my favorite boots of all time is the David Beckham white and yellow or white and gold Predator Power Swerves, which were one of the first like top end boots that I got back in, God knows when that was, 2008 maybe. And those were really, really cool, but I never really got into I was never like a Predator player. I was much more of a striker type boot player. So T90s, any of the Venom, Hyper Venom series, Magista, Maestries, like those ones. So for me, Predators are kind of a new thing. And I gotta admit, given how lightweight these feel on feet, I know they're right around that 8-ounce mark, but honestly, I can't even tell the difference between these and something that's a little bit lighter. So they have a sensation of feeling really light. There's a really nice nimbleness to the sole plate. And so for me, these might be a really nice boot to train in sometimes. Definitely something that I'd consider doing. So if you guys enjoy these types of reviews on some of the older boots that I never got a chance to wear as a kid, hit that like button. Leave down in the comments below the next boot you think would be really cool to see that's more of a retro boot, maybe from the early 2010s or even the 2000s. Let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.